And welcome to another edition of the Playoff Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV, as we are now in the second round of playoff action, as we have a couple teams that have won, a few teams I should say, in the city of Riverside, but we have two games on the docket this week. It'll be Hillcrest on the road at Diamond Bar, and then we will have Ramona at home versus Calabasas. Those are the TV games we have this week, and now we are now joined by my guy in the booth, my friend, the great Ghazal is on. How you doing, Ghazal?
The number, Jeff, is 5. 5 Riverside teams still alive, all 3 in the River Valley, King, and CSDR.
I'll tell you what, we had last year, I think we had 6 teams. This year, 5 teams go on to win the first round games. But I'll tell you what, how good has this River Valley League been this year? You said it from the get-go, possibly the best we've seen the entire league has ever had.
Yeah, we've seen the entire league kind of come up a little bit, and it's tribute to the coaches. Mashinsky at Ramona, obviously Ken Batdorf at Norte Vista, Travis Carter, the young guy, doing a great job at Hillcrest, and just all up and down. I think the coaching has really focused on getting that league better. Even the teams that didn't make the playoffs, Kevin Argumosa, his team made a run last year, and there's been improvement on the Patriots side. I think Patriots should have been in, and then of course La Sierra. They're trying to make a move as well. So I think all the teams in the River Valley League are kind of trying to move forward. But right now, we have 3 still alive in the second round.
Well, let's talk first about that second place River Valley League team, as Hillcrest is going to go on the road at Diamond Bar. Diamond Bar 10-1, pretty formidable opponent with Diamond Bar.
It's a tough draw, but the way the playoffs are now, every game is going to be tough. And the X factor of going on the road, they get a home playoff game, they'll be all hyped up for it. But, that seems to be exactly what the Trojans like. We saw last week they were down early to Quartz Hill, and we were joking on the air. We said, well, Travis Carter has him right where he wants him. And sure enough, they pull out the win.
Yeah, they've won 5 in a row, which, they're starting to kind of get going. They've got a great running back. They've got a great wide receivers. They're just, like we've mentioned before, kind of a mini version, and no disrespect, but a smaller version of Ramona with that high-powered offense.
I mean, playing without their starting quarterback who's missed the whole year, and then a starting running back who they thought they were going to have who's going to miss the whole year. So they've been banged up all year. Now they got Jalen Bailey back, so that helps a little bit. But I it's one of these things where they're not old enough to know any better. And you mentioned the 5 wins in a row, and the momentum picks up, and the belief seeps in that they can win any game. They were down to Norte Vista. They were down to Quartz Hill. They were down to Patriots. This team believes as long as there's time left on the clock, they can win the football game.
Yeah, and I think that all is attributed to their coach, Travis Carter. Travis Carter's really, like Ken Mashinsky, like Ken Batdorf, they've elevated the program every year since they've been there. I think Travis Carter's his 4th year. They've gotten better every single year. And now let's talk about the other guy in the league, the first place winner.
Don't forget my guy, Ahmad Noor, the defensive coordinator. He came over from Rancho Verde. He worked for the Duffys. They won all the time. Jeff Steinberg actually won a CIF title while he was at Rancho Verde. So these guys understand winning a little bit.
Yes, they do, and it's palpable the great coaching we have here. Ken Mashinsky, part of that coaching tree of Travis Carter. Travis Carter played for Ken Mashinsky at King. And talking about Ramona, I mean, next man up. I mean, that has been the key this past week, as they had a huge victory at home in the first round. How surprising was that victory?
I don't think it was surprising at all. I think there were 2 very good teams that played a very good playoff game. Ramona had a little bit of an edge for playing at home, and then Manny Villa made a bunch of plays. He and Nathan Johnson just made a bunch of plays. The seniors stepped up, made a bunch of plays. Defense played very well, and that's how that was a great game. I said it on the air. I think it's a shame somebody had to lose that game. I thought both teams played fantastic.
Yeah, without Bo Bruins, who is undoubtedly probably the best offensive player in the city of Riverside, without their top receiver, they just stepped up. And I tell you, I tip my cap off to Ken Mashinsky, his staff, and his players. They just really seem to buy into everything they do.
Team game, Jeff. Team game.
Now, talking about the team that they're playing, hey, Calabasas, isn't that where the Kardashians and all those people live out there, all the rich guys? Are there going to be?
I,
Are we going to have a Kardashian sighting at the game on Friday?
it's a little eerie. I don't know. They won't return my calls, Jeff. It's a little eerie, though. Remember last year, you had GNW North, they had the undefeated regular season, a pretty impressive first-round win over Capitol Valley, and in comes Oak Hills out of the Marmonte League. They were probably playing a little bit down. Remember, they had a bunch of injuries, and they came and knocked off North. Not that that was an unwinnable game. I think North left that game on the table. I think all those guys are still kicking themselves a year later. And I think we're in a little bit of a similar situation with Ramona and with Calabasas. They were the fourth place team in the Marmonte League, which is a very tough league. And they're going to come in and, hey, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle between Ramona and Calabasas. And I do think, though, the Rams have an opportunity, even without Bo Bruins, even without Jake Valenzuela, if they can block, if they can tackle. Keep in mind, Calabasas is playing without a key player as well. They will not have Aaron Butler. He's a two-way starter at defensive back and a wide receiver. He was ejected from the first-round game, so he can't play in this one. But they got all kinds of talent. Their quarterback, Alonzo Contreras, 31 touchdowns, Jeff, just 7 interceptions. Their big running back, King Miller, has run for 1,400 yards. He's got 14 touchdowns on the year. He can do it all. But the key for Calabasas is their defense. Great pass rush, 25 sacks on the year. They forced 18 turnovers, including 13 interceptions. And they got a bunch of ball hawks in the secondary. Arion Lang has 3 picks. Luke Porter has 3 picks. And they got this guy. You're going to see him on Friday, D'Amato Pekka Jr. The guy, Jeff, does everything. He's the defensive end. He has 9 sacks. He's the tight end. He's like their third leading receiver. He's the punter. This guy does everything. So they're stacked. Calabasas is stacked. But again, it's very similar to Ramona. They only dress 39 guys. It's a neighborhood school, and they're going to try to do their best. A lot of guys playing on both sides of the football. That could be the little wrinkle for Ramona.
Now let's talk a little bit about the third place team in the River Valley League, and that is the Ferrymen. The old guy, Ken Batdorf, continuing his run through the playoffs in his 29th year. He's had 21 1,000-yard rushers, which I just found out yesterday. What can Ken Batdorf do to make it to the semifinals come this week?
I mean, I think we saw it, right? We saw it Thursday. It's that old-time religion, you know? It's, hey, let's run between the tackles till they stop us. Yeah, I mean, you know, Brian Temple, Demarion Richardson, Dreddy Lane, Eli Martinez running that jet sweep every once in a while. You're doing your bread and butter. You're running between the tackles. You got 7 guys blocking, 8 guys in the box. Somewhere along the line, you can slip through, but you don't even need to slip through. You get 3 and 4 yards of pop. You keep the clock running. That third quarter, you know, you and I, it was just kind of boring for us, but that is perfection. That's like a well-cooked medium rare steak for Coach Batdorf. Touchdown drive, 8 minutes. Yeah, give me the baked potato, give me the chives, give me the horseradish.
Well, I'll tell you what, they play Garden Grove, a lot similar teams. They like to run smash mouth football. Ken Batdorf this week thinks he has a pretty good shot coming in, going on Friday night at home under a muddy bog at Norte Vista High School.
They get a break, I think, being at home. And, you know, Garden Grove's going to be tough. They're a playoff team. They had to gut out a playoff win last week. But I think last week kind of showed what Norte Vista is still capable of. Yeah, they're a third-place team, but they don't play like a third-place team, Jeff.
Yeah, in fact, they threw as many passing yards as you and I did last week and still got the victory. So Ken Batdorf's smash mouth child abuse offense is in full effect over at the Braves. Let's go now over to...
Don't forget the great Fave Sola, who once made the Castle Run in under 12 parsecs. Two-way player, quarterback, linebacker. Just love what he brings, the leadership and the intensity that young man brings to the Braves.
Well, talking about intensity, hey, how can this guy in his second year, Jason McMains, takes King to the playoffs and gets a victory last week? How great is that story on over on Wood and Van Buren?
Yeah, I say Van Buren and Wood, Jeff, but it's Wood and Van Buren. That's fine. Again, you lose your quarterback week 1, just like happened to Hillcrest, or in the scrimmage, not even week 1. They lost him in the scrimmage, and then, you know, you build that from the beginning. And how good has Keon Gant been for them? And then how well has the defense played for them? They were a bit of a surprise in the first week, and they get to go on the road this week and try to make it to the semifinal for the first time. since that great run in 2016 under Kevin Cordy.
Yes, Kevin Corrigan, now the principal in the Jurupa Valley School District. But I'll tell you what, Jason McMains has really built a culture in just a short time. And I'll tell you what, next couple of years, it's going to be a very, very big turning point in those leagues. Whatever league they end up in, I think Jason McMains has them going on the right track.
It's tough. I mean, they got a little bit of a break, I think, with them splitting the leagues, but you still got to go out and win games. And it was funny because I texted the coach. He was worried after that loss, that last Thursday. They kind of spit the bit a little bit. He thought they might be out, but they got in. Not only that, they won the first round game, and now it's all found money. We saw what happened with Arlington last year.
Yep, and then finally, and I shouldn't say finally, but what a great story CSDR has been for the past 2 years, and they're looking for that redemption to get that CIF championship and that state championship in 8-man football. How good have they been over at CSDR the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's been impressive, Jeff. It's been really impressive, and I know it was really emotional last year in the final when they just fell a little bit short and, one game short, and you know that all those kids who are back, they are determined to finish it off this year, and they've added a couple of pieces as well. We got to see them against, a pretty good Desert Chapel team who they dismissed fairly easily. So that's what impressed me. The one game we did for them, they kind of played the team that was supposed to maybe challenge them in the league, and it was like, no problem.
Yeah, Coach Adams does a great job over there at CSDR, and hopefully we can get them in the finals in a rematch of For the Ages. I'd love to see CSDR win it all. And hopefully we can have a few teams locally here in the CIF Championship come 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, let's play another week. Let's get a semifinal here somewhere, and then we'll get Hillcrest and Novi. I'm really rooting for a Hillcrest Novi final. That'd be great for the city and great for the league.
Oh, it'd be great for everybody. It'd be great for Ken Batdorf to get another shot, and it'd be great to see Travis Carter come in and try to take his block off like he's done so well the last few years. Hillcrest seems to have Novi's number, but I would love to see a rematch.
Well, and you know that Ken Batdorf will be dug in for the rematch. And yeah, going back to the Brandon days, Hillcrest has been that one team in the River Valley that's kind of given Novi a little bit of trouble.
Well, Ghazal, it is always great having you in the booth and on the show today here on the Coach's Perspective. We will see you Friday night. You and I will be on the call at Ramona, and J.R. Ibarra and Nick Rice will be on the call at Hillcrest versus Diamond Bar. Ghazal, always a pleasure, and looking forward to seeing you Friday night.
See you, Jeff, on Friday with or without the face paint.
We will be there. The great Ghazal Hassan. Thank you, everybody. We will be right back here on the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. And welcome back to the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV as we are continuing our playoff action as we're now joined by the head coach of Hillcrest, the great Travis Carter. How are you doing today, Travis?
Hey, doing great, Jeff. We're second round of the playoffs, man. We can't complain. Appreciate you having me on again.
Well, I'll tell you what, you have a tough opponent this week in Diamond Bar. They're 10-1, and it seems like the last 5 weeks you've won 5 in a row, but I want to say 3 or 4 of those have been last-second games where, it's on the edge of your seats. How much fun has it been? I shouldn't say how much fun. How rough has it been being in those tight games the last 5 games?
Yeah, starting back all the way to the Patriot game, we were down 3 scores and managed to scratch our way back into that one and somehow came away with the win there. And I remember saying after that game, that was one of the most exciting games I've been around. And then that's happened, a couple more times this year. And last week with, double overtime against Quartz Hill that, really physical team. And, our kids they don't give up, they don't quit. We've had several of these games where we've, been down and just had to kind of, keep fighting and keep believing in each other. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, just seeing the kids in those moments, celebrating afterwards. And it's been a lot of fun. And I hope we, get a few more of those moments down the road.
Well, Coach, just thinking about your offense, you guys have been very prolific at times. Let's talk about that Patriot game. When you guys were down 3 scores, with 4 minutes to go, you come back, put up 21, and then you play Norte Vista. You're down 10. You end up winning by 10, so you outscore them by 20. And I figured out it's 6 minutes. You guys scored like 41 points in those 2 games. How do you do that? I mean, that's incredible. That is something we haven't seen a lot here on Riverside TV. That says a lot about your team. Tell us what you think about your team.
Yeah, I mean, starting with the offense, we have a well-rounded group this year. Just last game we had 2 backs go over 100 yards, 2 receivers go over 100 yards, quarterbacks playing extremely well, and then our offensive line is playing extremely well. Both run blocking, pass blocking. And then defensively, we've been able to make key stops, at just the right time. And, and again, it all comes back to our kids just kind of believe that, hey, when we're down, we're not out, that, we always got a fighting chance. And, kids have stepped up and made some big plays, and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of excitement around here, with all these close games and, comebacks and scoring touchdowns, last second and all that stuff. So
now, Coach, is there a certain time, certain spot in the season that you said, hey, we have something special here? Can you go back and tell us when you think that kind of cohesion happened with the Trojans?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all started, the spark came with the Patriot game. Obviously, they're a really good football team and really outplayed us for 3 quarters. And, our kids they never gave up. They never quit. And that game, without that game, I think that kind of was the turning point of our season. It could have went either way at that point, but that was kind of the spark that, got us going that we needed. And then obviously the Norte Vista game was a big moment as well. I mean, they're a really good football team, and then, last week as well. So, all year we knew we had a good football team. We just needed to put it all together, and we're still, waiting for everything to get pieced together and for us to, be hitting on all 3 phases of the game. So it's been a fun ride though, that's for sure.
Well, Ghazal and I talked a little bit at the top of the show about how good the River Valley League was this year. All 3 teams won the first round games. What does that say about how the quality of football in the River Valley League?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around this league for 7 years now, 3 as an assistant, and then this is going on year 4 for me as a head coach. And I think this is the strongest top to bottom the league has been by far. Obviously, Ramona was extremely talented this year, extremely well coached. Norte Vista is always good. As long as Ken Batdorf's there, they're always going to be good. We've been able to, put some last second comeback wins together. And Patriot was really good this year as well. And I thought, I wish they would have gotten the playoffs. I think they would have been able to win their first round game regardless of who they played as well. So yeah, it was exciting. It's cool because we're all rooting for each other too, as long as we're not playing each other, we're rooting for each other. So, I want to see Ramona win. I want to see Norte Vista win. And it's definitely been exciting, to see the River Valley kind of get stronger that way.
Well, Coach, we've been okay to take this show on the road. We're going to be at Diamond Bar this week covering you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about Diamond Bar? Like I said, they're 10-0, tough league. But what have you seen on the scouts that we need to look for on Friday night?
Yeah. So Diamond Bar is an extremely talented football team. Very well coached, very disciplined. Their kids play hard. Their kids are physical. Defensively, they're very sound football team. Like I said, they're very well coached. Their kids fly around. They run in the football. They're aggressive. They're physical. And then offensively, they have a really good quarterback who's just coming off an injury, but threw 5 touchdowns against Coachella Valley. Really shifty running back who can kind of take it to the house anytime he touches the football. And they got 2 really good explosive wide receivers on offense as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously they're a 10-1 football team. You don't get there by accident. It's going to be definitely a test for us, but our kids are excited, and like I've been saying all year, our kids, they're not going to back down from anybody. So I hope, we're ready for the challenge.
Well, Coach Carter, we will be on the call this Friday night in Diamond Bar, believe it or not. Like I said, we're going to take this show on the road, and we wish you nothing but continued success. Hopefully we can have an all River Valley League Division IX final. How cool would that be?
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. That would be pretty exciting, but both of us still got some work cut out for us with these teams in front of us. So,
Well, thank you, Coach Carter, and good luck to the Hillcrest Trojans later on this week on Riverside TV Playoff Football. He has been the great Travis Carter, and we will be right back with more on the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. And welcome back to the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV, as we are now joined by the head coach of Diamond Bar, Matthew Castaneda. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, thank you. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. I'll tell you what, you've had a great season, and it's all culminating against a Riverside team. We're really looking forward to watching you guys play. You're 10-1 on the year. Tell us a little bit about the Brahmas and what you guys bring to the table here.
Yeah, we're playing really well right now. Like obviously you said, we're 10-1. We're coming off a big win over out in Coachella Valley, the number 2 seed in the division. So, we've had a pretty good year so far. We've had a really, really strong offensive line, really kind of carry us through the year, anchored by our left tackle, Luke Moe, guard, Gabriel Reyes, center, Nolan Kim, right guard, Logan Kim, and then right tackle, Jake Reiki. And then anchored by our running back, Isaiah Young, SoCal Player of the Week. So we've had a pretty good group of guys and outside receivers wide, Maddox Bernardino, Haas in the league, MVP, SoCal Player of the Week as well. Then a really good playmaker in Kai Jenkins. He's been able to, be the first team all-league wide receiver. And then Milo Medina, Nate Daniels at tight end and fullback. And then we're very thankful to have our quarterback, senior QB, who missed 9 games, return and come back for our first playoff game. So it's a big deal for us. And then our defense is playing really well. They had a great game last week, anchored by our middle linebacker, Matt Galvan, and then Nico Macias, Isaiah Young at backers. And then our safeties, our DBs, with Kai Jenkins and Max Bernardino, our corner, Matt Molina, Brian Vu, and then our defensive end, Julian Martinez, Joe Song, D tackle. Then Morgan and Blaine McGee switch off at tackles for us, and then Luke Moe anchoring it down at one of our ends. So, we have a pretty good core of guys, and obviously we're really excited about our year. We won the league, so we're league champs. We're 10-1, and we're excited to be playing again. Not many teams are left. I know Hillcrest is coming to us, and they've had a really solid year. They're from a really strong league, so they're going to be a tough game for us. They're going to give us their all, and then they have a double overtime win against Quartz Hill, and so we're going to give them our best game, and hopefully something worth watching.
Well, talking to Coach Travis Carter over at Hillcrest, he says there's you mentioned your quarterback was out for 9 games, but he comes back, throws for 5 touchdowns. How good is that young man, and what does he bring to the table for you guys?
Yeah, he's definitely a difference maker. When he's on the field, I can call plays a little more comfortably. He can just do things that, he did last year as a junior, who's starting quarterback as a junior. So, you never go into a season thinking you're going to lose your starting QB, and that's what happened. And so we were very thankful that we have 2 young men step up and play QB all throughout non-league and league. And then I just knew he was coming back sometime or another. I didn't know if it was going to be after the season ended or it was going to be sometime at, a point down the line in week 9, week 10. And, we took it slow. We played the long game, and here he is healthy, and, he's got a strong arm, and I'm not asking him to do too much. Just put the ball where we need to, let our guys go up and make a play. And that's what he did Friday night. I mean, he threw 5 touchdowns, and it looked like he never left. So we're really excited about him.
Well, you got to be happy with, like you said, a giant offensive line to protect that young fella. But if we were talking about Diamond Bar, what would be the identity on offense and on defense? First, let's talk about your offense. What do you guys like to do? Are you a ground and pound? You guys like to spread, or do you do a little combination of both?
We're a pretty balanced team. We stay in a pretty much spread offense, but we get back into a 21 personnel with, we'll mix it up with fullbacks and tight ends, and we have the personnel to do so. So we go back and forth. I can stay in a spread, 10 personnel, and throw the ball a little bit, and I'll get into a tight end set and double tight end fullback set. So I like to say we're pretty balanced with the two. So I do either or, but we're run downhill, run first team. We do a lot of guard, tackle, pull. And then defensively, we're a 4-3 read to spill defense where we play everything up front, bend, don't break. It's alignment, assignment, and effort for us on defense. We align right, know your assignment, and do you give your effort every play. And so that's kind of our bare bone structure where we've been all year. Of course, there's wrinkles and all different nuances in between, but that's kind of our bare bone structure where we're at. We got good kids that respond and listen to our game plan offensively and defensively.
Now, Coach, going into the season, did you guys know? I mean, were there anticipations that you guys were going to be, 10-1, or is this just? Did you guys just kind of come together? What are the thoughts going into the season, and where you guys are now?
Well, I'm a new coach here, first year head coach. Came in January, February. So when I took over, I looked at the roster and I talked to different people, and I had known that Diamond Bar has been a program to be reckoned with in the past. They got a strong group of history of group of league titles and CIF titles. So I knew there was just some remnants of that. But I know as of recent years, we hadn't been as strong and, back and forth in between different divisions over the years. And so when I came in, the expectations were definitely high for me and for the program to kind of be uplifted. And I think we're rising to those expectations. Did anybody think we'd be 10-1? I did. I definitely did. I know our program. That's what I kept telling to our guys, hey, just believe in what we do, believe in our staff. We have a strong staff of really young guys, great guys. And so we all came together and said, hey, we're going to come into Diamond Bar. Let's turn this thing around and really push forward. And so coming in 10-1 off of, 2 backup QBs is huge for us, winning the league title and having the year we did with success we did with the amount of injuries we've had. That's pretty successful in our eyes. Obviously our goal is to keep playing and to play for a CIF title. But just to overcome the adversity we've had and go through the trials and ups and downs for the season and still be 10-1 is, speaks well for the boys and the community and the school that we have here. So, to see the expectations, I think people obviously wanted to see us do well. And I know that deep in my heart and in my staff's heart, I knew we could. So.
Well, I think after year one, I think your job is secure, Coach, and we wish you all the success and luck. And looking forward to really covering you guys Friday night. And thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy teaching, coaching, to give us a little bit, to introduce us to your team, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday night. Thanks, Coach.
Well, thank you, guys. It's my pleasure. Look forward to seeing you guys Friday night as well.
Okay, he is head coach over for the Brahmas of Diamond Bar, Matthew Castaneda, and we will see them on Friday night as J.R. Ibarra and Nick Rice will be on the call. We'll be right back with more on the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. And welcome back to the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV, as this guy is on every single week because he continues to win. And he called me the politician the other day. He said that everybody's his favorite. You're my favorite. Everybody's my favorite. But guess what, Coach Mashinsky? You are my favorite because you are Ramona Ram, baby. Horns up! Horns up! I love it.
Hey, brother, I appreciate it, man. It's great to be on the show again, and I appreciate all you guys are doing for high school sports.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach, last week you guys started off the playoffs with I want to say one of the best high school games I've ever seen. It was on Riverside TV. Gazal and I were on the call. We were up all night talking about that game. How fun was that come Friday night when you guys played Northview?
Oh, it was a fun game. It was a great game to coach in. I think that fun might be a little bit of a word that I'm not using until after we won the game. During the game, it was pretty stressful. There was a lot of thinking going on. Both teams just played fantastic. I said it to Pep at the end of the game. My hats really have to go off to Northview because their line, they were fantastic, both sides of the ball. It was just an electric game. What a great way to begin the 2022 CIF season.
Well, Coach, I don't know if many people knew this going into the game, but you didn't have Bo Bruins, you didn't have Villanueva, you didn't have. You were without probably almost 50% of your offense, but there was a guy, what do they call him, Mr. CIF or Mr. Playoffs? Manny Villa.
We missed Jake Valenzuela week 10 versus Patriot. He accidentally broke some bones in his arms during practice, so we knew he'd be out. And then Bo had a little twinge in his right knee, and we were hoping we'd get him back. It was kind of a game time decision. We decided to sit him out. So yeah, a good portion of our offense was sitting on the sideline, but he dubbed himself, or I guess the players dubbed him, the playoff king. Manny Villa, who had just an excellent all-around game in the kicking game and in the passing game. And Nathan had a fantastic game throwing the ball. I think he was 25 of 35 for 295 and a couple touchdowns. But really, our defense came to play. Our defense stepped up. They knew that we were out some offensive guys, and They bended a little bit, but they never broke, and that's what we needed from them. Real great job by the defense and our defensive coordinator, Gabe Guzman.
I'll tell you what, the playoff king played great. Seriously, if it wasn't for that last interception, he goes and he scores all of your points, for gosh sakes.
Yes, well, you know what? I'll take that last interception because my heart went, whoa, a little bit. I was, being up in a game like that, they had some playmakers for Nicky Chavez to come up with that pick six to seal the win there. It was fantastic. But yeah, hats off to Manny. He really did a great job catching the ball and, picking up that fumble and running it in for 6 points and kicking the ball. Great game for him.
Now, my big question is, after those games, your son played an amazing game. Nate Johnson, just a phenomenal quarterback, poised in the backfield. He was getting blitzed early in the first half. Second half, he was able to, your offensive line kind of kept him in control, and he was able to hit his progressions. He was great. But what do you do after the game? For me, I think I texted you at like 12:30 at night. I was all excited. What do you guys do? Do you stay? Are you at home celebrating, throwing, what do you do at home with your son after a big win like that?
It's funny. Everyone asks that, and I think only coaches understand what it means to like win a game and go and celebrate for an hour or two or even three after the game. But by the time midnight rolls around, or you wake up in the morning at 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, you're already on to the next game. You can't sit there and celebrate. Nathan and I, we go home. We talk a lot about it. We kind of reminisce about what he did right, what he did wrong. We don't delve too far into it, but then again, he's already on to the next game. He's already watching film, thinking about Calabasas and, what we're going to do against them. So it's great having him there and having that communication with him.
All right, well, let's turn the page over to Calabasas. Calabasas up there in somewhere in Hollywood or outside of Hollywood, all of the rich people. I think the Kardashians live out there. Everybody lives out there. But tell us about the Calabasas football team and what the Rams have to do to stop them this week.
Oh, I'll tell you, everyone right now in Division 6, and I think everyone when Division 6 came out, everyone was a good team, and everybody has an equal shot at it. Calabasas, they are electric. I don't know, offensive line and defensive line. Northview was very strong, very fast. I don't know if Calabasas has that, but their outside guys in terms of their wide receivers, their running backs, their defensive backs. It's like skill guys all over. They have number one wide receiver, cornerback going to SC. Their quarterback has a super strong arm. Their running back number 10 is just a big dude with speed. Their backers and their DN number 7, they got guys all over the place. So for us to win the game, we need to control the trenches. We've talked about that Monday. We're going to talk about that today. Get our defensive line, our offensive line kind of in sync. Make sure we've got some size. We've got some speed. We're going to have to use that to our benefit and hopefully control, again, bend, don't break. Control that speed as much as we possibly can, slow them down, and just keep playing Ramona football. We're 10-1 right now, and we're having a good time. We just need to keep doing that.
Now, real quick question. Will you guys scheme a lot differently? Now you guys are, have been a couple guys short. Do you scheme a lot more when you come playoff time against certain teams?
Well, yes, we do. Absolutely. And the fact that we're missing our number one ball carrier and our number one receiver, you can't scheme too much because I can't throw the ball more or run the ball more because I'm missing those guys. But yeah, last week we felt that we had a little bit of an advantage with their defense versus their defensive backs. We knew that we were going to throw the ball a little bit more, especially with Bo being out. This week with Peter Mesa and Luis Villarreal and Sincere Tolbert being our running backs, they've had a little bit more time to kind of get into the system and know that one of them is going to be the guy, if not all three of them. So I think we feel a little bit more comfortable running the ball, putting the ball in their hands. But again, we're going to scheme and go into the game like that. It may change immediately. They're a super talented team, and again, it's playoff football. Fortunately, we have a home game, so we are super happy about that. It's not supposed to rain on Friday night, so we're looking for a great game against Calabasas.
Well, I'm looking forward to painting my face again. I was a little worried that if I went all blue on Friday night, that somebody would have thought I was a Blue Man Group. So I said, I'll just go with a little war paint down here.
It was fantastic. I appreciate the support, Jeff.
Hey, and really quick before we go, River Valley League, how great is it that all three of you guys won your first round game?
It's fantastic. We have our River Valley League meeting tonight, so I get to see those guys. And I feel real fortunate that I have a good rapport with all the River Valley League coaches. And I told my players last night how happy I was that they not only won a River Valley League championship, but listen, 3 out of 3 in the River Valley League and CIF. And, we beat those teams and they all made it. So it was a great thing. I'm real proud of Travis and Ken Batdorf and their teams for moving on. And I wish them the best of luck. And I know that they wish us the best of luck. We're all representing Riverside. We're all representing the same league. So let's go.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you go to that meeting tonight, make sure you say hi to Ken Batdorf for me, and then tell Coach Fowler he was robbed. I think they would have been a 4th team in that league to get in, and I think they probably would have won a game. So tell Coach Fowler next year I'm looking forward to them making the playoffs.
I could not agree with you more. I've already talked to Coach Fowler, and I said, yeah, I think you got robbed, and I agree. I think they would have won a game. And next year, hopefully 4 out of the 6 will get in, and we can continue to keep this run going.
Well, Coach Mush, it's always great seeing you, and good luck to the Rams. We'll have the game Friday night. Ghazal and I will be on the call at 7 p.m. Friday night on Riverside TV. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next week if you continue to win here on Riverside TV. He's Ken Mashinsky, the head coach of Ramona High School, and we'll be right back with the great Pep Fernandez to end the show here on the Coach's Perspective. And welcome back to my favorite part of the show with my best friend in the entire world. He is the one and only Pep Fernandez. Hello, Pep. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Jeff. As you look into your weather forecast, I'm really hoping we don't have rain on Friday night for our football games in the quarterfinals.
Well, I have made the decision here in the city of Riverside, and we will have no rain. I am telling you, no rain come Friday night, as we will be over at Ramona for the second round game versus Calabasas. We just had Coach Mush on the show a little bit earlier. Hey, what are your thoughts about the Rams? How great was that game yesterday, or on Friday?
Listen, Coach Mashinsky is a fantastic coach. He's won a lot of big games. He's had a lot of great players. But that win against Northview ranks, if not the top, near the top of just his biggest wins because, Jeff, we talked about it all game long. They were shorthanded, and not just shorthanded like they were missing guys. They were arguably missing like maybe their 2 best players. Like they weren't just shorthanded. They were missing superstar players, and they still found a way to win. So credit to, the quarterback, Nathan Johnson. Manny Villa had a huge game. And of course, Coach Mush and his staff for finding a way. They couldn't go to their awesome running back, Bo Bruins, and they didn't have their number 1 receiver, but they still found a way to win. A very good Northview team who won a CIF title last year.
They had the playoff king, Manny Villa. Isn't that what he dubbed himself? The playoff king?
Yeah, he said he got it last year. He was so good in the playoffs last year. Everyone called him the playoff king. So, what was it? Reggie Jackson was Mr. October, right? So he's the playoff king. He's Mr. November, I guess.
Well, we were up in the booth, Ghazal and I were talking, and we were like, oh, please, just score every point, Manny Villa. We just wanted it to be Manny Villa 21 or whatever it was versus their team to score it. That would have just been great to have him beat them solo. He was kicking, he was catching, he was running, he did it all.
Yeah, he did outscore him, right? I think
yes,
at the end of the day, like he had more points than Northview did. Yeah, but what an awesome story that guy is, one of their top receivers. He does all the kicking. Like he was all over the place. And it was pretty cool that he was, I think until that last pick 6, he had done all the scoring for the Rams.
And I heard he made bologna and cheese sandwiches for the entire team beforehand.
Is that true?
No, of course not, but it sounded good. But Pep, we had 5 teams come out victorious after round 1 of the CIF playoffs. We had all 3 River Valley League teams. What do you say about that before we get into the other ones?
The River Valley, man, like, listen, when we talk about high school football and being competitive and the caliber of competition, the River Valley League is really good, and it's proving. I mean, look at Arlington. Arlington was the 4th place team out of the River Valley League last year, and they go on to win a CIF title. And this year, going into the quarterfinals, the top 3 teams in the River Valley League are still in the hunt for CIF championships. Jeff, there's not a lot of leagues anywhere. And there's some good leagues in the IE. There's not a lot of leagues that have 3 teams still playing for CIF championships this late in the season.
And let's, since we've talked to the coaches, this is for you and I to have fun. How cool would it be to have Hillcrest, Norte Vista in a Division IX CIF championship?
We all want it. That's what we want to see, right? I know, on the Inland Sports Show, at least, we talk a little Talkwitz, and I know Hillcrest, if they win this week, they'd probably have to go through Talkwitz in the semifinals, which they already played in the regular season, and that game went down to the wire. But let's just say Hillcrest and Norte Vista met in the finals. Of course, that's the game we want. The first time we saw it a couple weeks ago on Riverside TV, it went down literally to the final seconds of the game. So I want to see that rematch. Anybody does.
I don't think they could play it at Norte Vista, though, because if they keep playing on these fields, there's going to be nothing but dirt, so it'd be a mud bowl.
Yeah, would they move it? I mean, because, you're right. That's Hillcrest home field, too. It's like, where would they play? Would they move the game? I think it would just be at Norte Vista. I think it is what it is, right? Bring your long cleats, bring the long studs. It's probably going to be cold. It's going to be wet. There's going to be a lot of mud and a lot of dry grass. I think you just go for it.
I agree there. But, hey, I hope that both teams get it all the way to the final, because we'd love to have the city of Riverside have a champion. Basically, first and second place is still champions would be awesome. But let's head on over to Wood and Van Buren as King High School. Jason McMain's in his second year. He took the job late last year, and he got him a spot and a victory in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, they rolled big against Troy. And listen, when they formed that Big West Conference, I don't know why they named it like this, but there's the Big West Upper Division and the Big West Lower Division. And Lower Division just has this bad connotation,
yes.
Those teams aren't very good. Jeff, listen, you put those Lower Division teams in the Big West Conference anywhere else, and they're probably winning league titles. That is a very, very, very good league. So King got some good competition. They played some really good teams. They're a lot better than what their record shows. And in their division, why not the Wolves? Why not make a run all the way to the CIF championship? They're that good.
Yeah, it's been fun watching him, and he's got a great staff over there. And remember, they lost their quarterback before week 1, and they've just continued to roll and get better and better and better. And they're playing at a high level right now, much better than they were at the very beginning of the year. Everybody's healthy. It looks like they have a shot this week as well.
Yeah, Jeff, I think you're right. They're ready to rock and roll. Listen, you look at the record and you think, okay, maybe they kind of stumbled into the playoffs, but they really didn't. They played a lot of good teams, and there's something to be said for being battle-tested through the regular season, because that's what matters when you get to the playoffs. Have you seen adversity? Have you played good teams? King has done all that. So I think they are poised to make a deep run, and that was a very decisive win against Troy in the opening round.
Now let's head on over to my favorite guys, Keith Adams and the California School for the Deaf Cubs. What do they say this? What is it? What is the thing? How does it go?
Win
Cubs! Keith Adams and his team, he's got both his sons on the team. They're ranked number 1 in Division I 8-man football. They're in the quarterfinals, I believe, this week at home. And then they have an opportunity to play in the finals once again. What are your thoughts on them? You've seen them twice this year.
Listen, you could take me back all the way to August when they played their first game, and I would have told you, hey, listen, I'm just going to hibernate until about the last week of November, because I know CSDR will be playing for a CIF championship. So wake me up when the finals are here, because everyone knew, you saw the writing on the wall from last season that they were going to get back in the championship game, but who would they play? And it sure looks like a rematch with Faith Baptist is going to happen. CSDR has rolled through absolutely everyone. They have not had a close game all year. But again, they're on that collision course with Faith Baptist, and that's going to be a much different game. That will be a close game again if the Cubs can get that rematch. But yeah, in August, I could have took a long slumber with the Cubs and hibernated for about 3 months, because I knew they'd be right here, right now in November.
Well, Pep, I'll tell you what, every single week you give us the greatest sports stories in the world. Every Wednesday night, 6 p.m., you can catch the Inland Sports Show. And then on Friday night's post-game show, about 11:05, you have the Inland Sports Show as well. Thank you, Pep, for everything you do for the city of Riverside. And thank you for being such a dear friend to me. And we look forward to seeing you Friday night as the Rams are going to take on Calabasas and the Kardashians at Ramona High School.
And I wrote it down, Jeff. You said no rain on Friday. I wrote that down, so you made that promise.
I did make the promise. He's Pep Fernandez. I'm Jeff Gorm, and thank you for joining us on another edition of the Playoff Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. We will see you Friday night. Good night, everybody.